the news that every Raptors fan wanted to hear after Giannis decided to re-sign with the Milwaukee Bucks. OG Anunoby signed an extension onto his rookie deal, 4 years, $72 million. So, did the Raptors overpay to keep Anunoby, or is this price just right for Canada's team? Let's get into it. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Amateur Sports, where we give you NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 days a week on the channel. We talk, opinionative topics concerning the Raptors. We talk about the games coming up, game reviews, and all that fun stuff. So, if it is your first time here with me today and you like what you see, you want more of myself talking about the Toronto Raptors in videos just like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and join the movement of the channel. Thank you so much to everybody who has been pouring on the support over the last little while. I'm truly grateful for everybody who has hit that subscribe button, who watches the videos and enjoys the content. But today, we're talking about OG Anunoby, and it's kind of good that we're talking about him today because usually we don't upload on Tuesdays. It's usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, but I was away yesterday, so we're in today, and OG Anunoby, who signed his contract yesterday, we get a fresh video to talk about that. Again, 4 years, $72 million. Initially, I looked at the contract as maybe a bit of overpaying. I was talking about earlier in the week when I was talking about Giannis, how Giannis signed with the Bucks, the Raptors weren't going to get him. I thought that this was the perfect opportunity to now get OG Anunoby on a bit of a cut price, because if you wait for restricted free agency to come around, maybe he gets an offer sheet, you have to match it, it's a little more than you wanted to pay. So I thought we could get him now in around the $16 million range, but it has turned into an $18 million a year contract. And initially, looking at it, I thought that, okay, that's a little bit too much, but I'm very happy to keep OG Anunoby for 4 years, and I'm happy to pay him 18. Don't get it twisted. I love OG Anunoby, and if you watch this channel, you watch me, I'll say it again. I love OG Anunoby. I love what he brings on defense. He can guard all 5 positions on the court to an elite degree of effectiveness, and on offense, a very, very good three-point shooter. Good at shooting in the clutch as well. Needs to work on getting his points to the rim, but I think that's going to come over time. But I love OG Anunoby. I thought it was just a little much. But then I saw there were a lot of these guys getting their extensions yesterday, right? There was Jonathan Isaac, there was Derek White, there was Luke Kennard, there were Markelle Fultz. Those are the notable ones. I saw the prices those guys are going for. Jonathan Isaac, who is undoubtedly a great player, 4 years, $80 million, and he's not even going to play one game this season. He is out for the entire season. The Orlando Magic are taking a risk here by signing him to that deal. They're hoping he's going to come back. That's 2 bad knee injuries in the last year or so. So that's a bit of a risk. But Jonathan Isaac, a good player. If he's healthy, definitely worth that money. But it is a risk giving him that. Then I look at Derek White. 4 years, $73 million. Now, Derek White, I like Derek White. He's a good guard. He's got maybe some all-defense potential. He's an efficient shooter. Do I think he's worth that right now? Maybe not. OG Anunoby, $1 million less than that. So now I'm thinking, okay, would I rather have OG Anunoby on my team or Derek White? Now, Derek White is he's a neat and tidy player. I'd much rather have OG Anunoby on my team, especially considering OG Anunoby is a few years younger than him as well. Now I'm thinking, okay, I can see why OG Anunoby is getting paid that, because that's the market. I mean, even Luke Kennard got 4 years, $64 million. Like, Luke Kennard, who's this man's agent, getting him that much money? I think he's going to fit in nicely with that Clippers team, but they're already giving him that extension after just getting traded there. I think he's a nice off-ball player for the likes of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, but still, that much for Luke Kennard. Then another one, Markelle Fultz, 3 years this time, $50 million. So a little bit more per year than Luke Kennard, but it's not locked in for that 4 years, only that 3 years. So OG Anunoby's $18 million a year for 4 years. That looks like almost it could be a bit of a steal considering the market right now, considering the market that these guys are going for. Now, I'm not trying to compare too much each player individually, but if the market right now looks like, your role player, maybe your 4th option type player is getting, let's say, $16 to $20 million a year, maybe even more, okay, I'll take $18 million a year for OG Anunoby, because that looks good now. Based on what we're seeing guys getting paid, I think that in a few years, this is going to look like a good contract for the Toronto Raptors. I think right now, maybe I'm a bit hesitant for that price, but down the road, as OG Anunoby continues to improve, continues to develop, and I think that OG Anunoby, he's got that big jump personal leap within him. I know he's got it within him. He's got to show it this season. I've made full videos talking about this topic. OG Anunoby taking that leap, that possible MIP season. But he's just got to be hungrier for the ball. His teammates aren't really finding him. He needs to demand the ball when he's open. He needs to take shots off the dribble, get busy at the rim if he's going to take that next step. Just got to have more confidence in his ability to take more shots, be more involved on offense. And now that he's got his money, $18 million a year, no more excuses. He's got to show that. And I think he's going to develop in that player, be a guy who's on an all-defense team. I'd be shocked if he didn't make an all-defense team in the next couple of years. Definitely has DPOY potential, although usually it goes to bigs, so maybe he won't get that. But he's got that potential within him. But we got to see that growing. We got to see him learning how to be a bigger threat on offense over the course of this contract. Now, usually I'm pretty guilty of being the optimist of Raptors fans. I've been called out for it on this channel on numerous occasions, how I rate something too highly or I grade something too highly for the Raptors, and getting called out a little bit for bias. But in this case, kind of weird, because I'm seeing most, if not all of it, on social media, on news networks, is huge praise for the Raptors for landing this contract. Now, huge praise for the Raptors for locking in OG Anunoby, locking in our core for the next 4 years. Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and OG Anunoby are here for the next 4 years, and that is great. Building around that as your core, that makes me very happy. That makes me very hopeful and anticipating greatness over the course of those 4 years, for the future. The future looks bright with these guys on the team. But lot of great praise for this contract. I'm not in the boat where I'm over the moon about giving OG Anunoby $18 million a year. I think we're maybe slightly overpaying, but 4 years, a long time for a guy who's 23. In 2 years, we could be looking at this contract like an absolute steal. If OG Anunoby grows into this player that I know he can becoming that offensive threat, becoming that guy who can take the ball off the dribble, get his shots, shoot in the mid-range, just kind of be a bigger threat on offense. Just grow into that player on offense, because he's already that elite piece on defense. If he grows into that offensive player, this contract is a steal. This contract would be a steal, and locking him in for 4 years on that would be fantastic news. Now, again, maybe slightly overpaid, but look at other guys. Look at other guys in this list. Jonathan Isaac, 4 years, $20 million. Derek White, 4 years, $73 million. Now, I'm not saying these guys aren't worth their money, but if these guys are getting more than OG Anunoby, maybe this is a steal of a contract, even today. Maybe this is already a steal of a contract. And the signs are there that OG Anunoby can find something extra on offense. I mean, 10.6 points per game last year, shooting over 50% from the field and 39% from three. I am in love with those numbers. I love that. I love that he's efficient like that on offense, 100%. Those three balls where he shoots, from kind of that wing area to corner, in between the wing and corner, that's his spot on the court. You find him there, you best believe he's knocking it down. Where he hit that shot, that game 3 against Boston, that buzzer beater, that area right there. OG Anunoby has his name stamped in that area for open threes, because he can always knock those ones down. So he gets busy, with that field goal percentage as well, 50%. That is no joke for a guy who takes a lot of threes. A guy who takes a lot of threes shooting like that, fantastic stuff. Then you get to the other statistics. 1.4 steals is nice. Just over 5 rebounds, and that's nice. But that is going to be better. We've seen in preseason already, OG Anunoby is getting a lot of reps as one of the front court players, playing as either a 5 or a 4, kind of a hybrid from a 5 or a 4, rotating that with Pascal Siakam. With that in mind, OG Anunoby's rebounds are probably going to climb this year. We're probably going to see OG Anunoby putting up potentially 7 rebounds per game, at least 6. Those numbers are going to climb, especially if his play time increases. I think we can see 7 rebounds per game for OG. Assists, not really his game, 1.6 a game. Maybe we can see that climb to 2, but not that concerned in the assist category. I want to see those points per game climb to about 13 at least. I think he's got 15 within him in the next couple of years, but I'm looking to see 13 points per game at least, maybe 6.5 rebounds per game. Let's say 6.5 rebounds per game at least. I'm hoping that the efficiencies don't decrease. Let's keep it around 36% from 3, 47, 48% from the field. I don't think these are unrealistic numbers. And if OG Anunoby is putting up those plus, that as his benchmark, that is the minimum for his statistical categories. If OG Anunoby is hitting that while also playing all defense level defense against any of the 5 positions on the court, and literally Nick Nurse says guard this guy no matter who it is, OG Anunoby fits the bill. If OG Anunoby does all that this season and continues to progress in the future at only 23 years old, this contract could look like a steal, like a phenomenal, like a great contract in the next couple of years. Right now, I think maybe a little too much right now, but there's a lot of time for him to fulfill that money, to really give that return on investment for the Toronto Raptors. I believe that is going to look good in the future. Just right now, I would have liked to have been a little less, but looking at the market, looking at guys like Luke Kennard, like Derek White, great work by the Raptors front office yet again. We can never doubt the Raptors front office to make the right decisions. I give my opinion constantly about different Raptors topics, but at the end of the day, I can't do it. I can't call it. I don't think anybody can call it as well as the Raptors front office. So props to those guys doing the business for the Raps, putting together a team that can be competitive year after year. And I think that this is a transition year to something bigger next year, yet still going to be a great and fun season for the Raptors. The NBA gets started tonight. The Raptors, not in action, but the NBA gets started tonight. I'm so excited to see basketball again. Such an amazing time for it to happen. We've had a bit of a stall on sports. We still have NFL, but NBA's hiatus has been tough for me, and I'm excited to see it back. Raptors get started tomorrow. I'm also looking forward to that very much. There will be a video tomorrow morning to talk about the Raptors prospects over the course of the season, talk about Pascal Siakam specifically, because that has been a point people have made in the comments. They want me to talk about Siakam a little more, what he can bring to the team, but you will see that tomorrow. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on this OG Anunoby contract in the comments down below. Is it a steal? Did we overpay? Or is this just right? I'm thinking, again, at this exact present moment, maybe it's a little too much, but then you look at the market, I think it's just right. But in the future, if OG progresses, if he finds that next step, it'll look like a steal. But let me know all your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that wraps it up from me for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you are still here, please like the video if you like, and subscribe to Amateur Sports for more content just like this. The NBA season, like I said, gets started tonight, so the content is coming in hot. There's going to be a lot of great stuff coming on the channel, so make sure you are a part of that movement by subscribing. Also, just touch on it quickly, live streaming is coming on the channel. We're looking to start that about mid-January. We're trying to acquire the equipment necessary to make that happen, but stay tuned for that in the future as well. At the end of the day, I believe what I say. If you disagree, that is okay. We'll see you again next time for another video.